Howdy folks, Michael back at you again on the Archangel 15. Today's video is a tribute to my great grandfather George Vogel, the American hero and American legend. Much of this information that I have to share with you today I recently just found, some of it from a Library of Congress articles and other archived articles I found throughout my various research. I have very little information that was passed down to me from my father's side of the family, but from what I have been told, it all correlates together. The little bit of information I do have, I'm very honored to share with you today. George fought for the Union in the Civil War and was a major in the 47th Ohio Infantry along with the 214th Pennsylvania Infantry. He, along with 10 other veterans, personally met and received medals of honor from President Lincoln for their heroics in holding down the line in Washington, D.C., and stopping the advancement of Confederate soldiers on Washington, D.C. In addition to his battlefield heroics, his life is nothing short of an amazing epic novel. He was a very charismatic man and an interesting person with a lot of entrepreneurial spirit. I decided to do this video because I see a lot of veterans, Iraq, Afghanistan people that think that they're heroes and they fly the flag and they want to be play the whole part. But it's just keep in mind that it's been many years since this country's actually fought a war that wasn't predicated on lies and greed, basically being pawns for Wall Street. I will do a synopsis of his life and try to highlight as much pertinent information as I can. If you're interested in this, I encourage you to search George Vogel, Civil War, and you can find the information basically of what I have here. He was born in 1843 to a Methodist minister. His father was very good friends with Joseph Smith, the founder of the Church of the Mormon Church of Latter-day Saints. Throughout George's life, he did various missionary work and did this all throughout the country. As I mentioned, he was a Union major and received a Medal of Honor for stopping the Confederate advances. He also was in Washington, D.C. when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Kind of interesting there. So if all of this wasn't interesting enough, following the Civil War, he moved out west to various states and hunted buffalo. He personally along with Buffalo Bill Cody from the dime store novels, worked with the Dodds Fur Company out of London and hunted buffalo pelts or hides, and also provided meat for railroad workers. They said the hills were black with buffalo, and an average a man could kill 50 a day. That was all that they could really handle for the skinners. He said a quote of his was, if you would have told him that the buffalo would have became extinct, he would have thought that you were crazy. He said that there seemed like there was millions of them. They made $75 a month for this. And it's kind of like a little disclaimer here. It's very sad what happened to the buffalo and also the Native Americans. I'll kind of go into later that he was not against the Native Americans. He had run-ins with them, but there were good Indians and bad Indians, and just like every race and every creed and color in this world. George, his nickname was Dutch by many of his friends. He was also an acclaimed equestrian. He speaks of how they used to capture the wild Mustangs, and they liked the Mustangs better than the Broncos because they were easier to break and I guess nicer. One of the stories that he reads here, let me stop and show you a picture actually that I have. So this is from an article. You see it's black and white, not the greatest quality. I have another one. So like I said, I want to stop and share some stories with you. So the one story I have here it says, on one trip of about 3 weeks duration, Buffalo Bill and Mr. Vogel killed within 20 buffalo of each other. When the actual count was made, Buffalo Bill had 1,716 skins to show for his work, and Mr. Vogel had 1,896 skins. I find that to be kind of interesting. Another interesting story here is this run-in with the Allen Gang. The Allen Gang were a bunch of renegade Indians. They were an outlaw tribe named after, I guess, their leader Allen. It consisted of about 63 Native American Indians, and I guess my grandfather and Buffalo Bill knew that these people were out to steal their hides and their money. They wanted to rob them, so they along with their 12 people in their camp. There were 6 hunters and 6 skinners. They hid behind rocks and basically held their ground and overtook these Native Americans that were armed with guns and all kinds of stuff. And when it was all said and done, there was 21 dead natives, and he was a killer, and it's a pretty interesting story. He also recalls seeing Chief Tecumseh's grave. He remembers the Sioux Indians. He said the Sioux Indians he believed to be the best of all the Native Americans. He believed that Chief Tecumseh was a great warrior. Also other various stories about Bill Cody coming to this as well. And after hunting buffaloes, he actually discovered one of, if not the only, aluminum mine in America. It was in Deer Creek, Utah. I guess he put a claim in for this and owned it, and then eventually sold it to the Aluminum Corporation of America under the Mellon family. I don't know if that's Alcoa now, but it was tied to the Mellon family. Eventually, he went and started a station, I believe, in Utah for Standard Oil. He ran that for a while. He married Martha Roberts in 1896 and went on to have several kids. From what I recall, all of my grandfather had I think 8 brothers and sisters, and every single one of them lived to be at least 90, many into their hundreds. My grandfather was 102, I think. This George Vogel lived to be, I think, 94, it says in the article here, which was pretty old for that time. This man was a true cowboy, a true pioneer, and a purveyor of truth. If you're still with me, I thank you for your time.